How are you, Karen?
I am great. How are you doing, Ed?
Not too bad.
A
What's the matter? The beard scared you there?
little bit. Is that your COVID beard?
It's my second COVID beard.
I know this is my long hair COVID.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, boy. Yep.
You doing well?
I'm hanging in
You,
there.
you staying safe and healthy?
I have to. I'm delicate.
You are very delicate.
I
Yes, you
am.
are.
I am. I'm immunosuppressed from that liver transplant. So yeah,
Yeah.
I keep away from all you sick people.
Unfortunately, I must have brought it home to my husband because he and I both have had it.
Oh,
And
God, thanks.
he is he's waiting for a kidney transplant. So
Oh my God, where's he getting?
yeah,
What center did he go to?
he's down at UC.
Oh,
So,
he's gonna get the
but
best care in the world.
yeah, yeah, and he gets dialysis at home, so he's
Mm,
on peritoneal.
yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't a death sentence. That was my biggest fear, is that was going to be
Right,
the
right.
worst thing. But yeah, so
Well, good for him. How long has he
yeah,
been on the list?
well, actually, he can't be on a list because he needs a live donor.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, but we have somebody identified, and we should hopefully hear something around the first of the year.
Well, good luck. That's the
Yeah,
hardest part, waiting.
it is hard waiting.
It made me crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, how long were you on the list?
I was on a national transplant list for 11 months.
Wow.
Yep. When I went to get checked, they told me I had 6 to 12 months to get a transplant. I said, "Oh boy, this is going to be fun."
So you
So
were coming
yeah,
right up to the line.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So well, we'll pass. That's all right.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, I was
you'll
already at stage 4. I skipped 1, 2, and 3. I went right to 4.
yeah, it seems
But
to happen.
the transplant center at UC is just fabulous. They do fantastic work.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. So um, yeah, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for good news in the first of the year.
Well, I'll pray for you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So are you doing a lot of your interviews over Zoom and phone calls and
A
all of
lot
that?
of phone. I'll go in person for special people, but you know. But yeah, I've been phone and Zoom. So
Yeah.
yeah, so hard to keep an eye on all you guys from where I live. So
That's okay. We're struggling to. We've been doing a lot of remote. Being a community center, it's hard to.
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. So we've had to really get innovative with how we connect with people and provide our services, which is, you know, it's not a bad thing.
Nope, sounds like a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to adapt, overcome, and improvise and overcome. So
Yeah.
I know we had to. So
I just noticed we were recording. Probably shouldn't be discussing all this. I
yeah,
just
it's all right.
realized that.
It's all right.
Yeah.
If anything, we created more awareness about transplants.
That's right.
Hi, Karen.
Thank you for joining us.
No problem. My pleasure.
Hey, Tim, thank you too for joining us.
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Do we have, okay, I see Amy. We're just missing Joe, I believe.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Oh, you're here. Okay, great, Joe. I can't see. Okay, thank you everybody for your patience. We were coming out of one meeting into another. All right, I believe you're ready. I'd like to call to order the Middletown City Council meeting for December 15th, 2020. Let's start with a moment of meditation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all. Ooh, that echoing. Okay, Ms. Skanku, please call the roll for us.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
I'm sorry, I'll turn my mic on. That'll help. Mr. Mulligan,
Here.
Mayor Condrey,
Here.
Ms. Vittori,
Here.
Ms. Nenny,
Here.
Mr. Moon.
Here.
Okay, we have a presentation this evening from Ms. Karen Maney of CBI. Karen, you are with us virtually today.
I am. Thank you.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
All right, great. Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you, first of all, for actually inviting me, Jim, to present to City Council on CBI's Workforce Development Program. I think I have a slide presentation maybe that should be coming up. There we go. Thank you. So I do have a couple of people here with me tonight that I want to introduce, first of all, that'll be speaking a little bit later. But Vanois Peebles, she is here, and she is our Community Staffing Solutions Program Manager. So she's been with us since October. Amy Miller, who is with Ohio Means Jobs, and Tim Reddick with Staffination, which is an employee-owned staffing agency in Fairfield. So Community Staffing Solutions, or CSS for short, is an outgrowth of CBI's Employment Center program, which started last year and offered employment support services and an on-site job coach. The job coach would assist with resume writing, job searches, and building a backpack with Ohio Means Jobs that would enable the job seeker to access skill testing and employment opportunities. We also offered workforce readiness classes. But yet, we felt like there was more that we could be doing, especially for those that were hard to employ or who had barriers to sustained employment. After much research and several grant awards, CSS was created. CSS is an innovative approach to workforce development that seeks to meet the needs of businesses as well as the needs of workers. We're a competitive staffing service offering temp to perm, and permanent placements for job seekers, especially those who have barriers to employment. What research shows is that temporary employment can be a ramp to sustainable employment, especially if combined with social service supports. CSS contracts with local businesses who are looking for workers with individuals that we've screened and assessed for employability. If a person is not ready for employment, we identify those barriers and provide them needed resources that can help prepare them for a temporary role with the goal of permanent placements. If you can fast forward to slide 3 or slide 4, that would be great. There you go. Maybe even to the next one. We've also built really strong partnerships and collaborations that not only provide these added resources, but we also that have helped us to identify those folks in the community that need employment. The Employment Success Program is a collaboration of community providers that work together to increase an individual's ability to provide for themselves and for their families. As you can see on the screen, there's quite a few partners: Jobs and Family Services from Butler County, Ohio Means Jobs, CDC, Community Health Alliance, Lifespan, Omnicom, SELF, and the Aspire program. For example, CDC provides comprehensive screenings for employability and then refers to other ESP organizations that can help with needs such as job readiness, transportation, addiction and mental health services and counseling, or utility and rent assistance. All of these programs or organizations are access points for the community, and once ready, are referred to our staffing program for placement. There are some eligibility requirements for the program, but it seeks to target individuals that really are the hardest to employ. Amy, I'd like to have you step in real quick, and if you just share briefly about the partnership between CBI and Ohio Means Jobs.
Yes, thanks, Karen. I'm Amy with Ohio Means Jobs. We serve all of Butler County, but one of our challenges, given that our building is in Fairfield, we've always wanted to serve more Middletown folks. And Karen has partnered with us so that we can reach more people in Middletown. And we support her ideas and her programming. And we have funding available for people who would like to upskill and take advantage of training and education programs. And we're happy to be here.
Thanks, Amy. There are also several avenues that we are for locating those individuals who need employment assistance. And the first is the Connections to Opportunity program. And this is a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and the 4 school districts, as well as Middletown Community Foundation. And this program targets those families who receive internet hotspots, especially through the Middletown School District. The reasoning why we're partnering with them is that if a family can't afford internet, then they're good candidates to participate in our workforce program. The second way is through CBI's new emergency assistance program, which has been funded through PNC Bank and United Way. This program helps our families in the surrounding school district with acute needs, especially those who have lost employment due to pandemic and its economic fallout. For both of those programs, we receive referrals directly from the school liaisons and caseworkers who are on the front line working with families in Middletown, Madison, Trenton, and Monroe school districts. And lastly, our partnership with Staffination is important. It's an important part of our equation for long-term success. As we are new to the staffing industry, Tim has been a strong support and just a great resource for us. But the jobs that we are currently offering, since we're new, are not robust. Tim stepped up, and instead of seeing competition between our two agencies, he saw an opportunity for more people to work and more business needs to be met. So Tim, would you just like to talk briefly about our collaboration?
Yeah, love to, Karen. So I actually started an IT company in '92 and grew that and transitioned it to employee ownership last year. And as kind of my second act, I'm buying companies from retiring owners and turning them to employee-owned companies. So I bought a staffing company in Fairfield at the end of February from a husband and wife that had operated it for 30 years. So this is a staffing company that's been around 30 years. They've got clients all over the greater Cincinnati area up through Middletown and Dayton and that. So because of that great breadth of jobs that we have available, it's allowed us to partner with Karen, and the whole idea behind purchasing the company, in addition to turning it in employee ownership, is also make it a social impact in the community. Because I grew up in Lebanon, went to Fenwick and Middletown, actually married a woman from Middletown, so I'm very familiar with the challenges that have fallen upon Middletown, and wanted to figure out a way to help those workers in the area. So like Karen, we have a very similar set of services that we wrap around our employees when they come in to help them out with getting a bank account, getting them transportation, dealing with childcare, and all those other issues that a lot of these temporary workers have challenges with. So our missions aligned very well, and I looked forward to partnering with her on a lot of the jobs that she's trying to fill and a lot of the services that we're both trying to deliver. It's a challenge.
Thanks, Tim.
Sure.
Appreciate that. So if you want to go to the next screen. So we have an ask of you tonight for the cities of Middletown support for our community staffing services. And I think you could help us and assist us in a couple of different ways. The first one is to get the word out to businesses in the community through advertising on your electronic sign at the interchange of 123 and 75, through the City of Middletown's website and any other available avenues. I think also just having a stamp of approval from the City of Middletown, since we are being funded through the Community Development Block Grant, will really send a message to local businesses that we're here to serve. We're here to get some of their needs met, as well as upskilling and getting folks into employment, which really benefits the city as a whole. And then second, as you would consider future financial support of CBI and the staffing service through the Community Development Block Grant funding that the RFP is coming out fairly shortly. So I appreciate your time to allow us to present, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
No comments from council?
Thanks, Ms. Maney. Good to see you. One question from me with regard to the financial picture of this. Does this provide any revenue stream to CBI, or is CSS just a standalone entity?
No, and Joe, that's a great question. So we knew for the long-term sustainability of the program and for CBI that social enterprise is one of the directions we wanted to go. And so as a competitive staffing agency, we expect this to provide revenue to sustain not only the workforce development program, but hopefully CBI in the long run.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Maney, and for all of her guests. We appreciate it, guys, and all your hard work you're doing for our community.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we have citizen comments. Did we have any submitted this evening?
I asked when I came in, I did not have anybody turn in any cards.
Okay. Does anyone feel otherwise? They submitted one that didn't get turned in. Okay. All right, no citizen comments this evening. That leaves us to council comments. We'll start with Ms. Ninny.
No comments this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Moon.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Just as we approach the end of 2020, just want to extend my appreciation to city staff. It's been, as we've all said before, a difficult year, a year of transition, both staff and council, and with certainly with COVID, it's been a challenge on many levels. So I just want to express my appreciation to all of you for all your work this year. And secondly, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. And that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Mulligan.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll echo Councilman Moon's comments. Thank you to our staff. This has been an unbelievable year. We appreciate your hard work and dedication. I wish you all a very happy and blessed Christmas and holiday break with your family and close friends. Hope you get some rest, because I know our new city manager in his first full calendar year has a lot of work to get done in 2021. So looking forward to that. But to our residents, to our staff, a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the best in 2021. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Pettori.
It's the same sentiment. It's the season and time for us to all be grateful. And even though this has been probably one of the most challenging years of many of our lives across the board, so many people have, risen to the task. We've seen it at the city level. We've seen small businesses come together, communities and neighbors. And I think it's really a time to celebrate all that's good about what's happening in Middletown and look forward to 2021 being a really positive year for all of us. So I hope everyone enjoys the holidays, and I'll see you next year.
Thank you. And I will just finish this up by adding, I wish you all could see, and perhaps we'll have it in one of our new videos that's the video series that's coming out, but I wish you all could see Mr. Palahniuk standing in front of the map of the city and describing his plans for 2021 and where we're going, because if you're not excited after watching him, then maybe you can stay in 2020, because 2021 is going to be incredible for this city, and I'm really excited, and he's just a great leading force for us moving forward. So that's all I have this evening. That brings us to Mr. Palahniuk's City Manager Report.
Madam Mayor, members of council, good evening. The mayor did mention that we have started, and we hope to continue, a sort of video update series that we're going to do every 2 weeks. The first one came out about 2 weeks ago, and one of the primary topics was the paving program. Today we just shot the second one, and it's primarily featuring our Public Health Commissioner, Jackie Phillips Carter, who will be talking about vaccinations. So I would urge the public to pay attention to that one, because Jackie has some really good information on what to expect on when those vaccines will come out, how they'll be prioritized, etc. Also wanted to mention this evening that I had put at your places, if you're here physically, otherwise we will make it available to you, a list of all of those final awardees under the SAVE Small Business Grant applications. This was the $212,648 that Butler County provided the city from CARES Act funding to provide some quick, short-term small business economic development grants. We were able to determine, based on the applications, 27 separate small businesses who would be receiving $194,425. We got those to the county last week. We also had a series of 3 other applications that had been submitted. We were still waiting for some of their financial information to come in, and that did come in subsequently. We've now forwarded those on as well, so the combination of those 3 additional, which makes 30 total, was another $17,975. So at the end of the day, we wound up finding, all but $248 would be awarded. So one of the items on your agenda this evening is the actual final approval of that $212,400 in county funding. So we're pleased to be able to not only make these 30 separate grants, but also those 17 that came as a result of the CDBG program. So in combination, almost $400,000. And that is my report for this evening.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please present the consent agenda for us?
For your consideration this evening, we have to receive and file those Zoning Board of Appeals minutes from July 1st, 2020, to confirm the following personnel appointments. Megan Ellis to the position of Human Resources Specialist in the Department of Administrative Services, Division of Human Resources. Sarah Valentine to the position of Housing Code Specialist in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police Administration. William Ross Green, Austin Renner, Kendall Bowles, and Shelby Davis to the position of Patrol Officer in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. To receive and file an oath of office for Michelle Groves. To approve the purchase of hydrofluorosilic acid, HFS, from Water Solutions Unlimited of Canby, Indiana, in the amount of $2.56.5 a gallon for use at the water treatment plant during the 2021 calendar year. To approve the purchase of liquid chlorine, sodium hypochlorite, 15 to 18% concentration from Bonded Chemicals of Columbus, Ohio, in the amount of 82 cents per gallon for use at the water treatment plant. To approve the purchase of liquid chlorine, sodium hypochlorite, 12 to 13% concentration from Bonded Chemicals of Columbus, Ohio, in the amount of 76 cents a gallon for use at the water reclamation facility. To approve the final plat for Renaissance 2, Section 3, and to confirm the following board and commission appointments. To the Airport Commission, Nick Brown, John Langhorn, Tim Pond, and John Shade. To the Board of Health and Environment, Ruth Lawley. To the Historic Commission, Glenn Roger Daniel, Levi Kramer, Jeremy Lukinas. To the Library Board, Eleanor Yeager Stewart. To the to the Park Board, Travis Bouts. To the Planning Commission, John Langhorn, Paul Nenny, Glenn Roger Daniel, and Jeremy Lukinas. And to the Board of Zoning Appeals, Gerald Heidenreich and Chris Ambergy.
So move for adoption. Or I move to approve the issues and actions set forth in the consent agenda, excuse me.
Thank you.
Second?
Ms. Skank, you'll please call the roll.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Thank you.
And just so the citizens are aware, we are going to revisit the Citizens Advisory Board. We have a few questions about just the general procedures for selection on that particular board. So we're going to make sure we do it right and have another discussion about that before we move forward. And also, when it comes to the Airport Commission, we believe there's one position that will be vacant coming up shortly, and we have identified the replacement, but we're not going to announce it tonight until that position has officially been vacated and we can clear that position. Sound accurate to everyone else? Great, thank you. Okay, Mr. Yoder, will you be presenting the legislation for us this evening?
I will, thank you, Your Honor. Tonight you've got 12 items in total on your legislative agenda, all of which but the fourth and fifth items are proposed for passage as emergency measures. So before I get started, I just request council waive the charter provision pertaining to second readings and effective dates on emergency actions.
I move that the charter provision be waived and that the items identified as emergencies be read one time only and be declared emergency and read one time only.
Second?
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey.
Yes.
All right, first item on the agenda is ordinance number O-2020-89, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Phoenix Safety Outfitters for the purchase of fire turnout gear and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second? Any comments from council? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Second item on the agenda is ordinance number O-2020-90, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Aclara Technologies LLC for the purchase of replacement equipment for the automated meter reading system and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second?
Any comments? Okay, Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Thank you. Third item on the agenda is Ordinance O 2020-91, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the 2021 urban paving program and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Any comments? Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Fourth item on the agenda is ordinance number O 2020-92, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for a small business economic development grant with Tri-County Management, Inc., located at 1224 Central Avenue. This is a second reading.
So move for adoption.
Second? Any comments? Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon. Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Fifth item on the agenda is ordinance number O 2020-93, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for a small business economic development grant with Cedar Brook Acres LLC, located at 2021 First Avenue. Again, this is a second reading.
So move for adoption.
Second? Any comments? I won't call out any names particularly on this one, but when today I went to go get a sandwich at a brand new restaurant downtown that just opened, and the person behind there working was one of the individuals being affected by this grant with a smiling face. It just kind of brought the entire community all together in one place, and how it functions so well when we work together. So that just was an awesome feeling today to see that, and this is a really great project. So. Ms. Gank, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon. Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey.
Yes.
Sixth item on the agenda is ordinance number O 2020-94, an ordinance authorizing the Middletown transit system to operate fare-free in calendar year 2021 and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second?
Any comments?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, members of council, during the pandemic this last year, I think most small transit systems wound up going fare-free, primarily as a result of reducing barriers to ridership, but also to really promote health and safety, so that individuals weren't interacting with the bus drivers, having to pass back and forth, payment, so that the possibility of virus was mitigated. But now, as we're looking to 2021, of course, we're still concerned about the pandemic continuing. And also, we've found that, since only 6% of fares or 6% of revenues for the system are derived from fares anyway, and that these funds can be made up through grant funds, and it winds up being budget neutral, we're more than pleased to be able to offer to the public at least one more additional year, and then continue to revisit it each year thereafter, of fare-free ridership within the transit system.
Any comments from council or questions?
I just had one question. Is there any concern, I know sometimes when we accept federal grants that there's only limited uses we can use those for. Is there going to be any issue where we have less flexibility because we're tying our hands with grants as opposed to ridership dollars?
I don't think in this case, this happens to be that we actually are leaving some funding on the table because we don't put enough local match to it. And in this case, we can access a little bit more by the fact that we're not getting at the fare revenues. We'll continue to revisit that each year in the future, but for this year, that allows it to be basically revenue neutral.
Thank you.
I have one more question. Do we have anything in place when it comes to keeping people from circuit riding, if you will, with it being like during the winter months particularly, or not, where it ends up being people just getting on the bus just to ride it?
I think if it means that someone has a warm place to be and they're not disruptive, we would encourage that. There's certainly nothing wrong with it. The
Yeah,
bus is-
and
the bus is
that
going
makes
there
sense.
anyway, so I mean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess maybe from my perspective, I've been in an environment where there's 24 hours a day service, and so it's slightly different. And with this, it's not 24 hours a day, so we don't have people necessarily spending the night on the bus, which would
No,
be a
no, that
little
would
bit
not
different situation.
Butler County also has in place a policy for a code of conduct effectively that makes sure that the environment is safe and appropriate that I think would address some of the concerns if it became an issue.
Great. And yeah, absolutely. If someone needs a warm place, I'm glad we can provide that to them.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? Okay, Ms. Skanku, please call the roll.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Seventh item is ordinance number O 2020-95, an ordinance amending the pay and benefits ordinance for the Department of Health and Environment, which is ordinance number O 2020-71, and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Any comments?
Madam Mayor, members of council, in this case, when we approved ordinance 2020-71 on November 17th, we realized we had inadvertently left out a particular job classification, that of Director of Nursing, as an exempt employee. This ordinance simply fixes that.
Any other comments? Okay, Ms. Skanku, please call the roll.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Eighth item is ordinance number O 2020-96, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a temporary easement and permanent easement to 700 North University Boulevard from LILP Enterprises LLC in order to construct a pump station as part of the Lakeside Redirection Project and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second?
Any comments?
Madam Mayor, members of council, whenever you do a large-scale public works project like the Lakeside Redirection Project, we often have the requirement that we have to purchase either temporary or permanent easements for portions of where this infrastructure may have to go. In this case, we had to do both. There is a 24-month temporary easement that's being purchased, as well as a perpetual easement, each of which is costing the city $14,500, so the total cost is $29,000. On this easement will be located the actual pump station as part of the Lakeside Redirection Project, and all of this will be paid for out of the sewer capital reserve, part of the overall budget for that project.
Any comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Skanku, please call the roll.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Ninth item is resolution number R 2020-40, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, or CARES Act funding, in the transfers and supplemental appropriations associated with the approval of these expenditures and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second? Any comments?
Madam Mayor, members of council, as we have moved through this year, we've seen a number of times where we have received CARES Act funding. That is almost completed. This is sort of the final portion this year. Both the counties of Warren and Butler had provided various allocations to jurisdictions, and then there were some that were unutilized, and they reallocated what was left. This amounts to that. So as a result, we're receiving $12,524.08 from Warren County, another $8,538.15 from Butler County, for a total of $21,062.23 in those county redistributions. Those will be assigned to public safety salaries and will be added to the other two various general CARES Act contributions that were received on October 6th and November 17th. That in combination now altogether total $3,331,625.77.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Gann, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
10th item is resolution number R 2020-41, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Middletown, Counties of Butler and Warren, State of Ohio, for the period ending December 31, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second. Mr. Palanick, do you have any comments?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this is adjusting our current fiscal year 2020 budget in order to account for that SAVE grant that the county provided, Butler County, the $212,400 that I had talked about earlier in my manager's report, as well as providing for the expenditure of $75,000 in health funds that our health department has received. They'll be using those funds, among other things, to purchase a ultra-low temperature freezer and a trailer to assist with the vaccination effort. And this simply allows us to appropriately expend these dollars within the budget year, the way they're required by the federal law.
Mr. Palanick, but just for clarification, this legislation is only dealing with the health fund, right? It's not dealing with the grants we talked about earlier.
It actually amends for both, for the $212,640 or $212,400, as well as the $75,000.
I have a question for Mr. Yoder. My agency has 2 recipients of grants. Do I need to abstain from this?
No, I don't believe so. There's a variety of components that go into that, but we've analyzed that for a few different situations similar to yours. And because, in essence, it's a necessary service that's being provided to the city, the Ohio Ethics Commission has said in situations such as these that it would be fine.
Similarly, I guess, my sister is one of the recipients of this grant funding. And so while I have no financial impact, in transparency, I don't think that precludes me from voting here, but
Correct. And we've thoroughly vetted and researched this and issued a legal opinion that's on point with it, and we're comfortable with that.
thank you.
I would
And
just
just to
also,
be clear, that legal opinion does refer to me and my businesses, of which I'm a part owner, that received the funding, which is why I will abstain.
I would just also add that this was a very objective and transparent process in which the city provided to applicants in advance what made them eligible, how they would be approved, and what the calculation for scoring would be, and it was handled the same in every case. And then we had gotten a legal opinion to determine if anyone associated with the city, in effect, could apply for and be eligible to receive that. As Mr. Yoder said, it was determined that that was, again, because of the process, fine. But still, in order to be fully transparent, we didn't evaluate those until the very end to make certain that those were the last ones that were awarded. Because, as you remember last week, we were trying desperately to get as many people as we could to actually apply, and we were falling short. We wanted to make certain that all these funds ultimately went to eligible. So as a result, we still actually are going to turn back some, $248, but nonetheless, we wanted to see that every one of these dollars went to what were ultimately eligible small businesses. In every case, every one of these turned out to be precisely consistent with the program that was established in advance before anyone was even reviewed or scored.
Just one question. On Tuesday in the last Tuesday, the Board of Health meeting, Ms. Phillips was mentioning the ultra-low temperature freezers and that we weren't planning to purchase one. Is that, I know it's a moving target, this whole COVID thing. Is that something we've changed and we are planning to do now?
I'm going to ask, Jake should know that answer, Jake Burton.
There we go. I do not know if that plan has changed. I do know that we created a purchase order for a ultra-low freezer along with a cargo trailer. That doesn't mean they've actually issued payment or received an invoice. It's more of a...
It could be a planning
Right.
on her
A planning
part, just trying to
mechanism
be
from the
flexible
grant.
for when. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know 100%, but we can certainly follow up.
No problem. No, I don't need
Okay.
to. I just was curious if there was a definitive answer on that by now, but no problem. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Ms. Skank, you please call the roll.
Ms. Vettori,
Abstain.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey.
Yes.
Thank you. The 11th item on the agenda is resolution number R 2020-42, a resolution establishing the Street Levy Fund and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second.
Mr. Palanick, do you have comments on this one?
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of council, once we actually formally approved our pavement levy, we are now required to formally adopt and create an actual street levy fund that those funds have to be deposited into, maintained for, and this would do that. This also would transfer from the income tax fund an expected amount of funds that we would put into next year's budget, the amount of $2,670,210. And the next item, number 12, will be a companion piece to this that would also adjust our budget for 2021, similarly to provide for that.
Any questions or comments from council? Okay, Ms. Skank, you please call the roll.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
The 12th and final item on the agenda is resolution number R 2020-43, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Middletown, Counties of Butler and Warren, State of Ohio, for the period ending December 31, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
So move for adoption.
Second?
Mr. Palanick, you already discussed this. Do you have anything to add to this one?
I would ask Mr. Burton if he has anything further, but no, I don't have anything else to conclude.
Okay, any questions or comments from council? Okay, Ms. Skank, you please call the roll.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Okay, and our final item is a vote to move to executive session under the authority of ORC 121.22G2 to consider the renewal, amendment, termination, or other action concerning a lease of municipal property. Do I have a motion to move to executive session?
So move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Skank, you please call the roll.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Abstain?
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Ms. Nenny,
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move to executive session, come back in session just to close it only. But aside from that, we will not be having any business discussions in that last portion of the meeting to close the meeting, so there's no need for anyone to hang out for that. And we will see you guys on the 5th of January, 2021, here in council chambers at 5:30 p.m. Until then, blue skies over Middletown. Have a great holiday, everybody.
Thank you.